This week, we bring you to the first edition of the Talking Real Book Club, where we talk about the book Essentialism by Greg Mckewon, which shows us how to find what is essential in life and pursue the disciplined pursuit of less.
And unlike an actual book, everyone can enjoy this first edition.
Welcome back to Talking Real, brought to you by the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. You are tuned into episode 122 of Talking Real, back in the studio with your hosts, Jeff and Nabil. Nabil, tell me about your day.
Well, the day began with me waking up before my alarm, which is actually really surprising.
If you know Nabil loves his sleep. So that's interesting. I hope you're feeling okay, because that's such a rare thing.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's been a good day. We had our RPAC trustees met earlier today to talk about supporting realtor champions in the state legislature who have campaigns this year, to make sure that we continue to work with our colleagues in the legislature who are going to be champions for good realtor policy and good private property rights policy and those kinds of things. So that was a good meeting. It's always fun to have those and get to have that opportunity to have those discussions.
Yeah. And those usually last a little bit of time because, you talk through, like, in the meeting a lot. Like, I mean, you essentially go through everyone, right?
Absolutely,
that's running for stuff. So
so you've got a large group of people. So we had that today, and so that was a good time.
Nice.
We've also got a few new members on staff here.
Yes.
So if you find your way to the office in coming weeks and months for a meeting or something, make sure you take a walk around the office and say hi to some of our new friends on staff that we have, because we've got 3 new people that are starting up in the current time period. So we want to welcome them to the staff and look forward to having everybody have a chance to meet them.
Yeah. And we've got 3 more listeners for Talking Real. Amongst the many of our listeners out there.
I want to be clear about this. It is not a job duty to listen to the podcast. Some just enjoy being regular listeners, and we appreciate them. Let's see, Nabil. We're doing something new today.
Yeah, we are. This was a good idea.
It was a good idea. It's not my idea.
Not my idea.
But we want to send appreciation to our colleague, Will, who suggested that we engage in every couple of months, maybe every quarter, Talking Real Book Club.
Yeah. So, maybe we'll have to have him on for the next one.
There you go. Maybe and let him pick the book and we'll read it. As our first one, I'm kind of excited about it. This is a book that I read some time ago. It's been a little bit since I've read the book, but it's something now that I'm feeling the need to pick it up and read it again for a couple of reasons that we'll talk about a little bit later. But it's actually been read by a few people on staff. I know that Will has read it. He's actually got a signed copy from the author, which is pretty cool. And our CEO, Jessica Hickok, she's read it as well. We kind of read it in tandem. She started after me, but finished first. She really loved it and really enjoyed it. And so we wanted to share this because this is applicable broadly to both just life and business and many other things. So I think people will like this book. This book is called Essentialism by Greg Mckewon. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And hopefully at the end of this, you will go wherever it is that you purchase your books, whether that's the Kindle version or you head on down to your local bookstore or from Amazon, whatever fits your needs. And maybe you'll pick it up and read it and enjoy it as well.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And for Nabil hasn't had a chance to read this book yet, but we've talked about it. And I'm actually going to leave this book with him so that he can read it.
Ooh, entrusting me with a book.
So we're going to do a review for Nabil and everybody else.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a curious mind trying to figure out what this book is about, because I'm actually really looking forward to reading this.
Yeah, it's got a nice cover here that, draws me in. I don't know, clever use of white space and Everything else, I liked
circling the important part.
Yeah, I literally picked this up because I was in Barnes & Noble and I was walking around just looking at books, and the cover caught my eye and I picked it up and I said, oh, that's, read a little bit. And I said, that seems like a really interesting book. So I bought it, and man, it's been fantastic.
Marketing works.
Marketing works. Absolutely. So I did judge a book by its cover.
Nice.
But we'll go deeper than that.
And this is our first one.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
So give me a basic overview of the book. How did you, basically what you told me to be like, ooh, I want to read that book?
Yeah, so I guess kind of the elevator pitch for the book. So the tagline for this is, what is essentialism? And the tagline is the disciplined pursuit of less. And you got to understand that there's sort of two different precepts here that sound similar but are different. And one is minimalism. I feel like we've heard a lot about minimalism, right? We're just getting rid of stuff. We're getting rid of stuff in our closet. We're decluttering.
Things that you don't need.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
This is a little bit different because minimalism, if you think about what that means, is I'm going to operate with the minimum I absolutely have to. Like, what is the minimum that I need?
Right.
This is different. This is looking at it from the standpoint of what is essential, what is absolutely necessary and essential, and I'm going to strip away all the non-essential. And so it's a different mindset than just minimizing. I don't know. From the minimalist idea, we're just getting down to what is, getting rid of everything that we possibly can, versus we're going to look at what is purely essential and strip away the non-essential.
Now, this has to be looked at from the lens and the point of view of reaching a certain goal, right? Or your end goal in life, or whatever that might be, right? Minimalism is just a general way of living, right? And this is in pursuit of something.
Right. And so a lot of the discussion in this book is certainly very career oriented. And when you look at sort of one of the initial principles of the book is that if you don't take control of your time and the decisions that you make, then you're giving control to somebody else, right? And when you look at it from a career standpoint, whether this is in your job or even just at home in your social life, whatever the case is that if you don't actively take control and examine every decision that you have with this standpoint of, is this essential or is this not, then you're letting somebody else make that decision for you. And when you do that, then you are just pursuing more and more and more, and you lack direction and you lack focus, as opposed to what is my focus and what is essential to drive me towards that focus, and I'm going to say no to everything else. So it's a little bit of a different mindset there. This really struck heavy with me because I started reading this book, and it's happened more recently as well, of feeling like I've lost control of my time. I mean, how many of us out there, and really pre-coronavirus lockdown especially, how many of us felt like we were just constantly having to just running from one thing to the next, and you never actually feel like you're getting anywhere. You're just mired in the mud, just running and running and running and running, and you're going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, but you just feel like you have no time. You feel like you're out of control. Right. Mm-hmm. That's something that I've absolutely suffered from a variety of times over the year. And with this book, it helped me to understand that I wasn't worrying about the essential. I was trying to do everything, and I lost control of my time, and I ceded that control to every other influence in my life besides myself. And this really gave me some great tools to kind of understand, one, how my mind was working, what I was doing, and some tools to actually figure out how to fix that, which was really good too.
Yeah. That, I mean, who doesn't need that?
Yeah.
Right. And like you said, pre-corona, now that we're getting back to a quote unquote new normal, right? This is like that perfect opportunity to reassess things, because some things have been on hold, and things are changing in the way they're going to be happening in the future. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is the perfect time, and I guess a good time to talk about this book and this topic.
Yeah, I completely agree, because we have this opportunity, right? If you want to look at this lockdown of coronavirus For a lot of people, it meant that so many things in our life did put a hold. Maybe that's activities that the kids were engaging in that were taking up a lot of time, or other social engagements, or extra work things we were taking on, or whatever. I mean, it could be any number of things that caused a lot of people during this period to put that on pause and enter a little bit slower state of life. And now that things are opening back up, I think this book is perfectly positioned right now to help people guide their actions coming out of this lockdown, because there's two options, I think. One is to take this reset that we've been given, and examine what we're going to do going forward with this idea of, okay, what's essential and what's not. I'm not going to go running back to the things that are non-essential, or we can just run back to doing things the way we did before, and we're stuck back in that cycle of feeling like we have no control over our time, we don't have enough time, and we're just driving ourselves insane because we're doing everything, as opposed to a disciplined pursuit of less.
Right. Now, we'll get into, I guess, a couple of strategies that the book talks about, but coming off of this, is there, or would this relate where, these 3 months that we weren't living normally, if there's an activity or a certain thing that you were pursuing that that you're longing to do or missing out on, or something new that you've started that you're like, okay, I'm going to continue this from now on because it gave me joy, or it's helping me get to this path. Is that part of this essentialist strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they really talk about, so there's a few different sections of the book, and the first one just talks about the mindset. What is the mindset of an essentialist? And then the second one goes into how can we discern the trivial many from the vital few. And the idea is that there's a lot of things that we do, and most of them are fairly trivial in the grand scheme of things. They aren't essential. There are very few things that are truly essential. And so it goes through talking about how to determine what that is, figure out what really matters. And for each person, that's going to be different, but they talk through the mindset and the questions you have to ask and the way you have to analyze all these different things that you're doing and the decisions that you're making to determine, is this one of those vital few things that I do need to continue? And then when I'm able to strip away all these other things that aren't essential, the trivial many, that frees up the time and the effort and the energy that you get to put into the vital few things that really are important.
So let's talk through one of those strategies. What do you do to get to that point?
Yeah, absolutely. So the last section on the book is dealing with,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's dealing with execution. And so with the idea that, we actually, it's sort of the addition by subtraction. People probably heard that before. That the idea is that we generate more value by removing things than by adding to them. And so
I agree. Because whenever I'm making something, I'll throw a lot of ideas at it, and then I'll start stripping it away until it doesn't work.
Right. And I think one of my favorite things, I say one of my favorite things, I think the whole book is great, but one of the things that was really, I think, kind of helpful was a section on how to say no. And that's the hard thing that we struggle with, right? Is how do we say no to things? And so they talk about that of some of the various things you can do. Literally talking about, okay, how do we say no? And there's a million different things in here that give you strategies and all these, but
and that's step one of reducing the many.
Exactly.
That is step one.
Is not agreeing to it in the first place.
Yeah.
And so there's a section here on the no repertoire. So it tells you like all these various strategies that would allow you, or how to say no. And it's great because it encompasses what is the other person thinking, why are they asking you to do it, but then lets you say no in a way that helps bring them onto your side so that they don't get necessarily offended or upset that you said no, but it allows you to help express the values and importance of what's going on with you when you say no. Because we always feel bad about saying no, right? And this helps you to get over that of, I've got to have all these tools on how to say no, as opposed to I just say no. Well, they're going to get mad, and I'm going to, it's going to be a problem, or whatever the case is. So, I thought it was very helpful in terms of just, how to have that conversation with somebody in terms of expressing your priorities. And so I think that was one of the things that I thought was really neat, is this like tangible tools. And that's what a lot of this is. This isn't just
theory,
touchy-feely, like, oh, this is what you should be doing. I mean, there's actual actionable items in the book that you can go through that were really helpful in terms of how to say no, how to prioritize, those kinds of things that I thought were really good. Tells you where the traps are, like how to avoid the commitment traps that you get into.
The commitment traps.
Commitment traps, right? Like, and you hear that and you're like, oh yeah.
It's a spiral, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It talks about things like stop making casual commitments, all these various things that we do that lead us towards
like, I told him I'd do this, or we said this last week, and let's just do it.
I know. I said it in passing, and I just didn't have a chance to think about it, look at my calendar, those kinds of things. Yeah, absolutely. So again, not only does it give you the mindset to talk about those touchy-feely things, but it also gives you all these actionable tools that I think are really, really valuable. So,
which I think, I know I appreciate those, because theory is one thing, but knowing how to execute on that theory is a whole different ball game. So
absolutely.
And I'm sure a lot of people will like that.
Absolutely. So again, we could talk about this forever and a day, but hopefully this gives you guys a quick overview of what essentialism looks like. Again, this is a great book. It's by Greg Mckewon, which is Mckeown on his last name. The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. So if you feel like you're on a collision course to run back to the way things were, of just committing to everything, doing too much, and losing control of your time, I think this would be an excellent book for somebody to pick up and read. I know that Jessica and Will in the office would agree as well, and we're just going to keep spreading the word about that. So if you've read it, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. So
me too. Before I spend my time reading this.
Yeah, no, Nabila, I'm giving it to him today.
I'm probably gonna start reading this tonight.
Yeah, and so let us know what you think. You can reach us at podcast@okrealtors.com to give us your feedback on the book if you've had a chance to read it, or if you read it, and then please in the future send us your feedback. So I'd love to know what you think. I thought this was a very profound book in terms of my thinking, and I need to revisit it. Now's a good time to revisit it.
Yeah, yeah, and I really like it because it's going to help you guide and focus on things that matter.
Absolutely.
Which I think is important.
Yep.
And it just adds so much to the quality of your life and just your overall well-being and happiness. So I think that's really good.
Absolutely. So check it out, Essentialism by Greg Mckewon.
Awesome. All right, I'm taking the book now. So, talking about things that are essential. I think getting involved in the industry is essential.
I agree.
Right? It just gives you so many different experiences and perspectives that you wouldn't have thought of.
Absolutely.
And right now is the perfect time to do that.
Yes, it is.
Because it's application month.
It's application month at the Oklahoma Association of Realtors.
And that means that applications are open for the various committees that OER has that really guide and can influence what happens in your industry, right? And there's everything from everyone's interest. So you can be on the conference committee, you can be on communications committee, the government affairs committee. You name it, there's a committee.
Absolutely.
That focuses on a particular aspect of it. So if you haven't done so yet, go on to okrealtors.com/applications. And there you can see the description of the committees and apply for the ones that you feel you're interested in.
Absolutely. We also have applications and nominations up for various awards, like the Good Neighbor Award. And we've had some previous people who have received national recognition for being Good Neighbor Award recipients.
Yeah.
Realtor of the Year, so a variety of other things, life members, those kinds of things that we can honor some of our members out there that are doing great things and have really been giving back. So go check those out as well and nominate somebody or yourself.
That's right. Yeah, you don't have to nominate someone else. you can just put your own name in there.
Absolutely, because you may be well deserving and we want to see that application. So
that's right.
So go check that out at okrealtors.com/applications.
And the deadline for these is July 3rd, end of day, just for Friday.
Yep.
So plenty of time.
Absolutely.
To think about it and get it done.
We've already been getting some in. I know we have a handful just in the first day. So
I know, yeah.
We're excited to see that excitement. We're excited to see the excitement.
Yes.
So come join us. Other than that, if you've got a book that you think we should read in our next Talking Real Book Club, let us know what that is. You can drop us a line at podcast@okrealtors.com if you think there's a book that other realtors need to know about and should get a chance to read that may have a good impact on their life, their business, or any other aspect. Please let us know, because we want to make sure we're getting that in front of people if we have the chance. And maybe if we don't hear from anybody too soon, we'll pick out the next book and we'll let you know and give you an idea of when we're going to review it so that you can follow along and read it ahead of our book
that's a good idea. Yeah.
So we may do that.
Also give us a chance to read it.
Absolutely. So we'll make that happen. Otherwise, we thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Talking Real. We hope everybody is staying safe out there, and we hope that as things open up, you continue to stay safe and that business picks up and everything gets rolling for people. And the start of the summer is fantastic for everybody. And we hope that you'll just keep joining us here every week for Talking Real.
That's right. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button so you know when that next episode is out. And share this podcast with a fellow realtor. Help spread the word and get out this wonderful information that we dole out week after week.
Week after week. So until next time, we'll see you next Tuesday on Talking Real.